Hi there, I'm Rebecca and a really warm welcome back to my channel, PumpkinBecki. In this week's video we are going to be giving this Sempervivum planter a new lease of life for the growing season. Let's get started. It should come as no surprise to anybody that I love Sempervivum. I think they are fascinatingly architectural, yet simple, yet complicated, able to live in the most extreme environments. For a beginner gardener, once you know a few principles, they are really easy to keep and really striking as well. Now, when I had my first garden, I thought I wasn't very good with Sempervivum, and that's because I would find them doing this sort of thing. So what on earth has happened here? Well, first off, I suspect birds and potentially gravity have made any plants that I had in the top here fall out. And secondly, we have this one here, which has a little extension on it, which makes me think this one probably had a flower last year, and once Sempervivum flower, that's it, they die. But what they will do is they will have put off little offsets which are called the chicks. So the mother plant is called the hen and then the offsets are called chicks. It will have done that and it will have regenerated itself via those chicks. So we just get rid of this one. I thought I was failing with these plants because every couple of years or so I would get these, and it just didn't occur to me that that was what was happening. Now I know so much more about gardening and I understand how some things reproduce. I realised that it wasn't my fault at all, it's just how it happens. So here we have a little flower pot of Sempervivum. This is a named variety, Jova Barbar, and it has a central crown, and then all these plants around the outside will have come off that centre plant. That means that all these exist in their own right. You can pop them all off and use them elsewhere. And that's exactly what I did here. This seed tray is full of multi-purpose compost, and I just popped the chicks off the mother plant. I don't know if I've got any that are loose still. And just pulled the chick off the mother plant, which was sat here, pinched out the little stem that holds the chick to the mother plant, laid it on the soil surface, and look, it's already put out new roots. It's completely normal for Sempervivum planters to need a little bit of attention at this time of year. Babies that were grown last year will be trying to expand and things will be getting a bit crowded. You'll have the old mother plants which have died that need taking out. So now's the time to just have a little look and quite possibly completely replant your planter, but wow, it's easy. Here are two that I've already done this year, and they took me about half an hour to strip down the original plant, clean off leaves, pinch out stems, and replant how I wanted. They really are just so easy, but they're so impactful once they've got themselves going. This one is just a single variety, and in the summer that red glows. And here I've got 4 different varieties all together in one planter. So this is a strawberry planter, and not only have I got the side pockets planted, I also have the top planted as well. I basically need to pull everything out and start again. The soil's got very dry. There seem to be air pockets built up where the compost has broken down, so I need to strip the whole thing out and start again. I'm just going to dive in and start pulling these plants out. There we are, there's the dead hen. It still feels quite fleshy, but it's definitely done its thing. As we go, we just clean up the back of the plant by pulling off any dead leaves that have hung on. To help hold the young plants in, I've used lots of mossing pins, which is something that flower arrangers use, and I often use in Sempervivum arrangements. Now here's a great example. We have the hen here, and her chicks are dangling from her, just like this, from this lovely fleshy stem. All we need to do is, between thumb and forefinger, pinch off the chick. That's fine, it doesn't need any more than that. And you can clean off the leaves from the back again, the dried ones. And there we go, we have another chick ready to plant. Or pull the whole thing off as I did just there, and then pinch. Doesn't matter, either way is fine. Once the chicks get to this sort of point, they don't need to be attached to the hen anymore. These ones that have built up quite a stump at the back, they're probably not going to go much longer than this year. But that's okay, I've got lots to replace them with. You may remember that I made a lovely heart decoration from Sempervivum and a wire form, and that sits on my front door. And it's still happy. Yes, I have had to do exactly this to it a couple of times, not all over, just in a couple of places. Generally speaking, Sempervivum don't really suffer from pests and diseases, so long as you're keeping them healthy and in the right sort of conditions, they'll be absolutely fine. These pots can be tricky, but the advantage they have is that water drains away from the plants really quickly, because the last thing these want is to be damp. Don't bother to save any leaves that you pull off. You can't propagate Sempervivum from leaf cuttings like you can with an echeveria and other sorts of succulents. They all have their own ways of propagating, and Sempervivum just don't work like that. Just like that, you'll find some have got themselves buried, especially in a pot like this. They're just going to get more and more congested, so it really does pay to do this. Ideally, I suppose every year, just have a little look at it, do a little bit of maintenance. And the lovely thing is, you probably are going to end up with more Sempervivum than you can use in this planter again. So that means you're going to be able to fill other planters. I think part of my problem here is that the compost layer has really shrunk. Wow. This one's a whopper. Wow, look at that. That's beautiful. But again, you can see there was a mother plant, and that has flowered, dried and died. Now I think with this big one I can afford to leave the root ball intact. It's a nice deep planter, that's absolutely fine. It's probably going to flower this year and it will need pulling out next year anyway. If we have a look at the compost that's left here in the pot, we can see it is very broken down. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Sempervivum don't need tons of nutrients, but it will help certainly to refresh this. You can plant these planters in any way that you want. You can do them in one colour, you can mix up the colours, you can mix up the colours in each section, you can keep each section the same colour. It really is completely up to you. Once you've got your window filled with your Sempervivum, support them and start to backfill with compost and firm them in really well. So that's a multi-purpose compost. Work on filling the lowest windows first. It's probably easier to use ones that have a bit of a stem. I like to vary the size of the cuttings that I'm using, and that adds another element of visual interest. We'll really firm these plants in. There's not going to be much more than this holding these plants in place, so you really do need to make sure they're firm. I'm going to use my big Whopper Chica to set the height. Actually, that's going to be pretty perfect because I want it to sit proud of the lip here. So now what I need to do, because that's the biggest, deepest root I have, is fill more compost around the outside of that and start to plant round it. Doesn't have to be in the centre, I just want it to set the height for the rest of the planter. And now I can start to simply lay these on the soil surface however I want. It is as painfully easy as that. Sempervivum come in such a gorgeous range of colours and textures. They're just so much fun, they're so easy. got a rose on my watering can. And that's just rainwater. It helps the soil settle around the plants. Make sure everybody's in really good contact with the soil. Okay, I don't think anybody has fallen out, but we will use some of the mossing pins to just make sure that everything is held in place. The most likely time for these plants to fall out is going to be when the arrangement dries out, particularly in the summer. So we need to start inserting the mossing pins in a way that helps support the plants until they can really get roots in. It doesn't matter if they protrude a little bit. Just want to get the pin in underneath some of the plants so they almost act like a little ledge to support the plant on. And this is exactly what I do in my arrangements, my hanging arrangements. Just use mossing pins to wedge the plants in. You could try and make your own mossing pins, but the metal that's been used has been really toughened, so they don't tend to bend, whereas if you bent your own wire, it would probably always be a bit flexible. So there we go, one refreshed strawberry pot planter with Sempervivum. I'm really pleased with that, it worked really well. And you can either place it on its own or with other planters, Sempervivum or otherwise, and it will still be really impactful. Right, that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to rate, share and subscribe to me here on YouTube. Keep your eye out for the midweek video, and until next time, bye!